to the Enterprise AI Minute, your journey into the real world AI future. This episode is brought to you by Cloud Wars Expo, running June 28 to 30 at Moscone Center in San Francisco, California. And I'll be there leading tracks and sessions alongside Bob Evans, founder of Cloud Wars, and the rest of my Acceleration Economy analyst colleagues. Go to cloudwarsexpo.com to learn more and join me there.
Join thousands of CXOs June 28th to 30th in San Francisco, California at Cloud Wars Expo to explore this digital future and discover ideas, insights, and relationships that can make it real. We will consider what is possible, challenge tradition, and surround ourselves with a new kind of analyst. An analyst for the acceleration economy that focuses less on quadrants and waves and more on what really matters. Register today at cloudwarsexpo.com.
Our ability to communicate through speech, our language, represents the core of who we are, or our culture, and the way we see the world and interact with others. However, in our digital first world, a lot of the technology is currently built using a very small number of languages. And this represents a modern issue, but it's harkening back to a decades-old problem. What I mean by this, for example, is that in the 1860s, the British laid claim to New Zealand. However, at that time, the native language there was Te Reo. But in 1867, the Native Schools Act forced Maori children to be taught the British English language. Now, this resulted in people being shamed, unfortunately, for attempting to speak Te Reo. And it wasn't until 1987 that this was finally reversed and an all-out effort to preserve the Te Reo language was put in place. Now, this history here of what I just covered, this really inspired Peter Lucas Jones and Keoni Mahelona to form a nonprofit Maori radio station. And this is called Hiku Media. Now, they recognized the issue here with what was going on, and in an effort to do something, they bought advanced computers at a 50% discount and set out to train their own algorithms for natural language processing. Now, they say, according to Peter and Keoni, that global AI development is impoverishing communities and countries that don't have a say in its development, the AI development, because, as I mentioned before, about the small number of languages that are being used for a lot of these technology creation and advancement. And for Keoni, data, and in his words, data is the last frontier of colonization. So in an effort to combat this or preserve things here, these two are turning to AI to revive the Te Reo language. Apologies for if I've butchered the pronunciation of that. And they overcame some resource limitations and developed their own language AI tools. And they created mechanisms to collect and manage and protect the flow of this Maori data and the Te Reo language. Further, they are looking to bring in more Maori data scientists through internship programs and junior positions and other things. Now, this effort is catching the eye of some top people. For example, Margaret Mitchell, the former co-lead of Google's ethical AI team, and that team conducts research on data governance and ownership practices. Now, Margaret agrees, and she's quoted as saying, "This is exactly the kind of license we want to be able to develop more generally for all different kinds of technology." And she would really like to see more of it. Now, why is all this important? Like I mentioned earlier, how we talk, how we communicate through our speech and our language, and represents, again, who we are, the culture, our community, our family, our experiences, and how we connect with other people around the world. So this effort that these two are doing to use AI and infuse native languages into the advancements in technology, and then also helping preserve, unfortunately, dying languages, as I think wonderful. And why is this wonderful? Well, because the future of AI and the preservation of our humanity through language depends on what we do now. So stay real and stay you.